Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Meena and you're welcome back to today's video. So today I want to talk to you about something dear to me. And like I mentioned, this month's series is about my journey. And because this is my birth month, and alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, I am approaching the age that I've, I've been thinking about. And if someone had told me that at this age of 9, I would be a single mom of two, I would have denied because never in my wildest dreams. But at the end of the day, I figured that it is not just about the mistakes I have had, it's about the lessons I have been able to bring out from those mistakes. And because of that, I am intentional about becoming a better version of myself. And Alhamdulillah, it hasn't been so easier than now because I feel a lot at ease instead of me battling with that part of me that I messed up. It's a mistake. Could have done better. I figured there is actually something beautiful. Those part of my life are taking me to. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. So today I want to talk to you about how I got my life on track as a single mother. And I won't lie, that's a very serious journey. It's a journey that took the best out of me, took the best from me. Should I use that? But also bring out the best out of me because I can't imagine the kind of life I would have built if what has happened to me 10 years ago did not happen. But I know there are so many women out there that are living in this dilemma cycle of not knowing how to come back better. They are in the cycle of not understanding how life can be fair to them. But life is actually fair to all of us all, but we are bound to have our own share. That is it. Life is not shy to happen to you. Life will always happen to you, with or without your permission. So you have to be willing to navigate that path when it is your turn. I've had my own share in life and I have been able to come this far. So I am really intentional about talking to people like me, women like me, to get better and help them unravel the potentials they are still in denial of. As a single mother of two, I have been able to understand that it's always good to be vulnerable, because there are some things we are not actually talking about. That's because social media community always shy away from the bitter truth. We only try to give ourselves the raw, polished version of ourselves. We don't always get dirty, especially to those that are in that situation. I want you to understand that this video is actually a vulnerable one. It's one that I am willing to tell you how things actually happen. And it is not coming from the point whereby I want people to judge me. Of course, there are people that are out there that are judging people. I think those to judge are just afraid of a part of them being exposed. So when somebody is bold enough to come up and talk about those parts of them that is actually happening to them, they feel attacked and they just want to be defensive as much and as possible as they can. So I am able to get my life on track as a single mother of two using three major notions. And these three major notions have some subdivisions. And that is because when you talk about one point is actually an umbrella that shades every other point. And that is because life is actually a broad one. Life is one thing that you don't want to joke about. And if it comes to you, you'll be thinking it's only one thing, but several things are actually attracted to that single one thing. So if you're feeling lost, overwhelmed, or ashamed of yourself, this video is actually for you. And if I had seen this video maybe like 4 or 5 years back, maybe I wouldn't have gone through so much like I did to be able to get here. So let's get started. The first one I did, or the first thing I did to be able to get my life on track as a single mother of two, is purity and keeping my body and heart sacred. Let me tell you one thing. I am a fan of keeping my body away from men. You see, you will never imagine the amount of good you can do for yourself if you are able to get yourself purified. As a single mom of two, or as a divorcee, I can tell you that there are instances where you would want to sleep with men just for you to make ends meet. Yet I have decided to make this video raw and authentic, and it is not because I haven't experienced it. It is because there are women that are in this situation, and I was one of them. If I have been able to get this message to me, maybe I wouldn't have taken some decisions. But I can tell you that purity is not shame about your body, it is a sacred stewardship, being in control of your body. You see, when you don't sleep with men, you are on your own, you are in a very high vibration state. And this state is what will actually connect you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to Allah Azza wa Jal, to your creator. I am not here to preach the religion to you, but I can tell you that that supernatural being that has created you into this world wants you to take charge of your body. There are so many women out there that would not believe in this concept. But I believe as a woman that understands her deen and chooses to be submissive to her creator, you need to take this really, really seriously. Purity is keeping your body and your heart sacred. Have you even tried to imagine the kind of confusion and chaos that comes to you when you eventually get your body attached to an opposite gender? Especially the man that you don't love, you don't care about, he is of no standard to your value. He is of no match to the kind of person you would have actually wanted to be with. Have you tried to think about the unsettlement you feel inside of you when you are done with this person? And I can tell you, it will take you 2, 3, 4, 5, or even months before you can get over that sensation. Instead of you being with somebody and you enjoy every single bit of it, you are left with chaos. And do you know what eventually happens? When things happen and you maybe something happened, you made a mistake, you get pregnant, or the guy did not fulfill what he promised you to do, have you tried to look back at how bad you felt because you have decided to put every ounce of your existence on this man instead of you running back to the one that actually created you? So I figured that my life actually got better when I started with this very first step, and that is purity. Keeping my body away from me, keeping my heart sacred, connecting me to Allah Azza wa Jalla, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because at the end of the day, He created me. So why shouldn't I suffer for His own cause than suffer for a man's cause? So it is very, very simple, but it feels like it is difficult to do. You think you can't have a life outside that man. You think you can't be better if you don't accept him. But you actually carry a lot within you. And that's why I named my channel as Strength Within. Within you, there is so much power you carry. Within you, there is so much possibility, potential. And I think if nothing scares you, this is Nigeria. A lot of things happen. And we have a lot of women out there that have been ripped of their possibilities, their potential, just because they have been sleeping their life away with men. And at the end of the day, become empty bucket. They become empty because everything they have to offer have been transferred to a man. And I think at this point, I would concur with the notion that says when you sleep with a man, there is a part of you that is being shared with that man, the good part and the bad part. And one way or the other, we tend to have an exchange because the body, the water, the semen has been mixed. So there is a part of me that, the part of him that gets to me, and there is a part of me that gets to him. So at the end of the day, if he is coming with some bad things, I am bound to share from him. And if I'm coming with some good things, he is also bound to have a share. So sometimes some of the delays we are having would actually not be there if we had decided to stay away from those people. So purity, you need to keep your body and heart sacred. And this is the first step I took that really, really helped me to begin to get my life on track as a single mother. So how do you begin to actually navigate this path? It is you choosing boundaries physically, sexually, emotionally, and energetically. Apart from the fact that you are protecting your heart, your private part, you need to also protect your body. You need to protect your womb. You need to protect your sanity. You need to protect your time. You need to protect your mentals, your emotions, because at the end of the day, you can't just be using your body as a temporary fix for loneliness. You can't just be using your body as a temporary fix for feeling the vague, the emptiness you have within you. Remember, we talked about you becoming a whole. You can't become someone better if you don't start working on yourself first. So that sanctuary, that home you are looking for, needs to start within you. You need to start practicing that inside of you. Only then can you begin to attract exactly what matches to the kind of person you want to become. So you need to be able to start with purity. Purity created loneliness sometimes, I won't lie. And at the same time, it makes you question your existence, especially when you're looking for something that you think you can actually get from somebody without actually stressing the whole out of you. But at the end of the day, it creates a lot of chaos when you can't stand firm on that purity stand. So create clear physical boundaries, no sex with a man that is not entitled to you, no relationship that requires more than it should be. No man should have access to your body without being worthy of your time, without being worthy of your attention, without being worthy of that beauty you carry. Because why don't you just use the energy to become better instead of you sharing that energy to a man that at the end of the day might not actually be worthy for that part of you? So the first thing I started with is purity. My body, my soul, my heart away from men, and also my time away from people that does not have value to me, my brain, my mental away from communities that does not have to my value. So purify yourself sexually, physically, emotionally, mentally, and also financially as need be. And mind you, it can actually create loneliness and boredom. But the more you begin to walk through this path, this is what helps you become better and even stronger as a woman of purpose. And the second step I took, which is spirituality, my soul seeking to be better. I am a fan of understanding that this life is not just about my perception, it's about connecting to the higher version of myself. When I have been able to purify myself, I am in a state whereby I am ready to receive. I am ready to receive from the universe, from the supernatural being. So, how do I do that? Is that I am in a clean state. Then I need to allow my soul to seek to the better and spirituality become the center of my decision. It was the inner compass that guided my external choices. So what do I do is that every morning I observe my solar, I do my askar, I dress very well. I make sure that whatever I'm doing is connected to the spiritual realm. And every day, every week, I try to increase my spiritual lifestyle in terms of my work, in terms of my appearance, in terms of my relationship, in terms of my decision. I make sure that spirituality is about how I'm being connected. So most times when I'm scared, when I'm afraid, I don't look for comfort in the hand of man. I look for comfort in the one that has actually created me. So it allows me to shift my attention from expecting anything from anybody. So instead of that, I shift my attention back to the supernatural being that has actually created me. And because of that, I begin to attain a higher level of connection to the universe, to the supernatural world, and also to having a stronger affirm of my being the way I practice my religion. So, it is one thing you understanding that you're purified. And let me tell you that if you are in a state whereby you have attained purity level, when you wish and pray and hope for something, it is very much likely those things would come to life. And that is how I'm able to do most of these things. So on monthly, on weekly, on daily basis, I am always trying to get spirituality connected. It helped me through the night of faith and also transform my shame into humility. So instead of looking for words affirmation from people that I can be better, I go back to my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and speak to him in a manner that I am vulnerable and I am not compromising. I am being open, and of course, I followed suit with tears because every ounce of me, I have been able to bring it back to you, for you, through you. And I believe that anchor I'm looking for, you would help me get to that place. So your spirituality and at the same time, you need to understand that seeking knowledge is compulsory. Most of the reason why most of we women are in dilemma circle is because we don't actually take our time to seek the knowledge it requires. So because of that, we are bound to be brainwashed, blindfolded by somebody's notion about how our life should be. At the end of the day, you need to be consistent in short learning and listening to things that would help you. So if you are trying to purify yourself and look for spirituality to get better, you need to constantly go in line with people that are also on that track. You need to constantly go and flow with people that would help you become a better version of yourself. So, spirituality is about you connecting to the supernatural being, to the universe. Observe your salah, do askar, have some rituals you do, and make sure that every single thing that is coming your way, you don't just react to them, you respond to them, and thereby upholding your value in terms of spirit, purity, and spirituality. And the third one, which is actually the major umbrella that actually put everything together. After I've been able to purify myself, my life, the spirituality seeking to be better is the vision. That is my mind yearning for growth and goals. So we have actually done the inner work. We have done the physical work. Now we need to activate it by putting in the actions. And that is the vision will save you from being reactive. It will save you from having endless days where you don't actually have a clue of where you are going. There is one thing to do something just for the purpose of doing it. It's another thing to do something because you know exactly why you are doing it. So the driving force will be different. And that is how you need to understand that a clear vision is like a lighthouse when the storm comes. So even if questions come in, questioning your existence, questioning the kind of woman you are, the vision you have for yourself will give you that anchor, that bridge, that cohesion that this is why you are doing this and these things are bound to come to life. So you need to have a vision of the kind of life you would have wanted. You have keep your body away from the all of this. You have connected yourself to the spirituality. Then what do you want the all of this to bring into your life? So that is where the vision board comes in, the three-tier goal system comes in. And I think I just want to talk a bit about how I create a vision for myself. So I try to create a vision board, which I like to do a 3 years interval. So the first 3 years of my life is actually going out, which I've actually been able to achieve, alhamdulillah, to an extent. I remember I mentioned in my previous video that when you pray for something, the prayer would not answer exactly the way you imagined it to be. But whatever turned out to be so the 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 answering of prayer is actually what you need. So I created a vision for myself when I was at my sister that I want to be quitting my school teaching job. And alhamdulillah, in the third year, I think that is going to happen. And also, I want to build the foundation of my coaching business. That has actually happened because I have started and the foundation is already on ground. It might not be perfect, but I have actually been able to create videos, short forms, name the brand, and also get the gadgets I actually need. And also, I told myself I want to be able to save up to get new accommodation because I figured that the first accommodation I'm getting is just a starting point. And that has actually happened too. So you can create a vision board by putting images together, either 5 years interval or 3 years interval. But I actually started with my entire life first. What kind of life would I have actually wanted? I want to have my own company. That is A-Meenah, a Strength Within Academy, both physical and online school where I put women together that have gone through major life challenges or major life transition to become better. So I want to build a school for women like myself to become better. I also want to own a fashion business that is Meenah Jilbab and costume. And I also want to be a woman that walks out of the house, go to a company, lead like the leader she is, and also lead my children. Then I'm in love with her because at the end of the day, I feel that marriage is a beautiful thing. So I would love to have a man that loves me deeply, and I would also love him genuinely. And the man has to be somebody that runs his own company, so not somebody working for somebody. No, he has to run his own company. He has to be a Muslim. He might be married with a child or two, if maybe I am going to be an addition to him, just like he's going to be an addition to me. So I think on that man aspect, I don't actually have a entire picture, and that is because probably because I've gone through one relationship that did not actually work. That is actually affecting. I can understand, and I'm seriously working on it. But that doesn't mean I don't want to get married anymore. It's just like I'm taking my time to be sure that I am making the right choices. You can't blame me for that. It's a journey, and I'm willing to work through it just to be able to get better. So I started with my entire life picture first. Then I had to move back. That is the life I want, right? Then moving back to 10 years later, when it got to that 10 years, I won't lie to you, I could not get a picture. But what I knew was that 10 years later, I want to be running my company. I want to have my company, both the coaching brand and the fashion brand. Then I thought that, okay, bringing it back to 5 years later. But there's one thing I told myself is that I like giving myself a vision board 3 years interval. That is because I believe and I'm convinced that 3 years is more than enough to test something. And 3 years is actually good to test something to come to life. So I figure that if I'm setting goals, I'm having vision, 3 years interval should do me a lot of good. So I left my relationship 2023, and by 2026, I am in the first level of transition because year one I was actually wallowing. Year two, I was able to get back a little bit. Year three, something has solidified. I have been able to get accommodation, which is the second one. I am able to quit my school teaching job, and also I am able to start a coaching business. It might not be earning seven figures, but I think at the end of this year, I want to move closer to earning up to at least seven figure, if it's not a million, but 500K upward, because I think that should be a good starting point for a coaching business that's just starting with little resources and putting things together. So you can have images, short phrases, values, and milestones. So for my first 3 years, the goal I set for myself is to quit the school teaching job, get the foundation of my coaching business. And I was able to actually divide my goal into like three or four sections. And one thing you need to understand is that setting goal requires a lot of patience with yourself, because what you set at the beginning of January might not be what you are ending with, because you might eventually understand that some things does not feel aligned anymore, and some things are actually coming to life that are actually your major and your core choices. So I set goal for something to achieve in terms of item, something to have in terms of my business, something to do in terms of my daily basics, and something to live with in terms of my action. So you can also set goals for your personal life, your business, your relationship, which are the three main things. So my business is to start a foundation of my coaching business. For my life personally is to become better, which I am doing. And for my relationship is to actually disconnect with people that does not add value to me. So I have a picture of my life, of my business, on how I also feel. So I took these pictures and had to put them on InShot, put the pictures together. And the three main thing I set for myself is just business, my business, home, and my relationship. So business, the coaching business for now, the home in terms of my house, and relationship in terms of my children and how I feed and take care of myself. So when you have this picture, you need to actually be able to map out your days, how you actually want your days to go, what you want to do on daily basis. And then you can actually give yourself the stabilizing time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Like I mentioned, 3 years is what I actually start with, because I feel that 3 years is enough to bring something to life. And because I've been able to tell myself that I've been rushing, so I want to settle down and relax with myself to see how things will go. And also, you can also have the 5 years legacy for 6 years. So the first 3 years will happen, the next 3 years. So by next year, I am starting off with another set of goals that is the continuation of where I used to be. So you need to also check for your values. What does not add up to what you actually want in life? Because there is no point in attaining the purity level, spirituality level, and getting to the vision and things becomes coagulated or friction based because you have not been able to actually idealize the kind of values you want. So some things I do is go through some exercises. This is how I want it to be, how I want to spend my day, what I want to do with my time. I try to practice these things on daily or weekly or monthly basis. And one thing is that when you create a vision, it's shifted like your life has actually shifted. It gives you that jump relapse into the kind of life you want. It might not be the exact picture in reality yet, but it gives you a kind of envision that this is what my life is possibly going to be about at the end of the year, at the end of trying this thing. And at the end of the day, it actually help you normalize that habit of becoming better. So, as a single mother of two, I would advise anyone out there that wants to be better to keep your body and your heart away from irrelevant things that does not add value to you, to also get spiritually connected and also to create a vision. Then, at the end of these three notions, I mentioned that these three notions are actually the major umbrella that sets the pace for me. So there are things I actually added that I feel that helped me to actually begin to bring these things to life, and that is building actions and systems. You see, where transformation lives is where the action begins to manifest. So you need to align your actions with every single thing you are doing. This is what you are looking for, and your action is going in this direction. It has to come to this direction and find its way to get up there. So there is no life, no transformation you are looking for without you putting in the action. So set your daily goals, your targets, your routine, your habits, your patterns. It has to go in line with that life you are building. You said you're keeping your body away from men, yet you are still meeting men at places that is not even worthy to mention. A lot of things can happen. You can even get seduced. And because you've been able to stay away from a man in 6 months does not guarantee you are going to be lasting for the next 6 months if you are not putting in the necessary action. So you need to set the boundaries and establish some protocols to make sure that that life you are looking for or you are working towards, you are actually navigating in that direction. And also, I started practicing letting go and surrendering, the hard work of trust. You have to trust the process. You have to trust that surrendering is not giving up, it's giving up control. You don't want to be the one controlling things of your life. Because one way or the other, you're going to lose charge. You're going to lose that connection. You're going to lose that that spark. So, how do you want to make sure that those things does not drag you back to where you're coming from? How do you want to make sure that those things does not does not pull you backwards and make you feel like you are such a mistake or a failure? So I figured that this processes, I named what I was actually holding on to. I named whatever factor that does not add to my progress, to my growth, and I make sure that I always reframe the saying that comes to my mind as limiting beliefs. So in addition to that, I embraced gratitude because if you don't actually see the good things inside of you, you would be blindfolded. As much as we're trying to fix our life like it is a long list of problems, we need to remind ourselves that there is beauty in what we actually carry. For you to actually be able to get to where you are now, it takes a lot of a lot of work you don't even reflect on. And you just need to remind yourself that you have this and you have things in control. And I think also I started to go look for community that are like mine, because if you don't go to where you are being wanted, you can be a total package and be in the wrong destination. You just need to be able to understand that because the community you belong into does not look like your home, does not mean you are a wrong piece of shit. You just have to take yourself as a total package and go to where you are needed, where you are respected, where you have life around you. So one thing I need you to understand is that when you're trying to get your life on track as a single mom or even a divorcee or someone that has gone through major life transition, you need to understand that you are going to sleep. There are going to be detours and setbacks. All you have to do is recommit. Because whenever you sleep, you have the decision to take. And the decision is just in two ways. And I think one is just the best thing you could ever do to yourself. Either you go back to where you're coming from, or you go forward and take the lessons from what has happened to you to become better. Because one way or the other, we're going to make mistakes. Name it without shame. Of course, you messed up. You took that decision. Yes, you acted on impulse. Yes, you could have let go when you did not. Of course, yes, you messed up. You spoke rudely. You allowed your emotions to get in place. Yes, money controlled you. Yes, you could not make enough and you did that. Of course, yes, that's what you did. You don't have to shy away from it. But at that point, you can decide to go back to where you're coming from or you face forward. Because when you're walking, you can't keep walking forward when you're looking at the back. Your eyes, your face has to be at the front, or else you're going to be falling down, you're going to be meeting with some bumps on the road that will eventually take you off road. So, getting your life on track is not something that you start, you stop, you start, you stop. Stop. You have to be intentional about the choices you're making and make sure you're setting boundaries where necessary. Let me tell you something. Everybody would not understand what you're working towards, and that is just a beautiful way to keep distractions away. So, if you're intentional about rebuilding your life, I would advise you to go through the journey of purity, spirituality, and creating a vision for yourself. And when you look back at your life, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, you'll be glad you take those decisions when you are supposed to take them. So, the final piece of this month series is the divine understanding laws through the lens of faith, which I'm going to be talking about in my next video. And I'm going to be seeing you in my next one. Bye.